Hi guys, my name is V and welcome to my book nook. First off guys, I want to thank you all for subscribing and for watching my videos. We finally hit 100 subscribers and I just appreciate that so much. So this week's video, I wanted to take you guys with me as I read for the week. So get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee and let's get started. So the first book that I'm in the middle of reading is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Yes, this is a psychological thriller and so far this book is so good. And so far I'm about 100 pages in and basically we're following Millie, who is an ex-convict. We don't know what she did or why she was in jail, but now she's struggling to get a job. So she finally got a job at the Winchesters and they are like this super rich family and they're paying her really well and she's kind of like, her prayers have been answered. She finally has a job. And then when she's working there so far, things have been like strange things have happened. The room she's staying in doesn't only locks from the outside. Her main employer, Nina, acts really strange towards her. She's like hot and cold sometimes. Sometimes everything she's done is wrong. Sometimes she's super nice to her. So we're just following that. And Millie kind of has an attraction to Andrew Winchester, which is Nina's husband. So I'm not really sure where this book is going to go, but I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. But so far, the chapters are short. The way it's written is so gripping that you just, want to know what's happening next. And I'm just really enjoying it. Hi guys, so it's the next day and I'm currently on like page 200 and something. So when I first started this book, right, I knew it was a thriller, but I didn't know the premise of the book exactly. Like I knew it was going to be about a maid, but I didn't know any details about it. So when I got to the second part of the book, we switched points of view, but I'm not going to tell you who. I had a couple of theories, but so far I don't think I was even on the right track. But I think I kind of have an idea of how it's going to end. But still, this book, it's really got my attention, especially the part that I'm on now. I just want to sit and fly through it as fast as I can. I think when I'm done this, my hold on Libby finally came through for the second book. The book after Five Broken Blades, I think it's called Four Ruined Realms. I'm not sure, but that finally came through for the audiobook. So as soon as this is done, I'm going to start that. I'll probably be done this today because this is just so interesting. I just really have to know the exact kind of thriller that I like, where the writing is so easy that it doesn't really take much brain power to read, especially when you're in a bit of a reading slump. It just really gets you back into reading and really gets you wanting to read more and know what happens next. And at the same time, it's not predictable at all, especially when I got to like the plot twist about on page 200. I was like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. So I'm just really curious to see where this book goes. And I heard that they're making a movie of this, so I'm really curious to see how that adaptation would take place. So I'm done, The Housemaid. That was such a good book. I will give you guys my proper opinions in my March wrap-up, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book and I recommend this. If you haven't read this, please give it a read. I really enjoyed my time reading this book and I just flew through it. So now I'm going to start Four Ruined Realms. This is the second book in a trilogy, right? So the first book followed these 6 characters and they were all given the task of assassinating the king in their kingdom, right? So it's an adult fantasy and this book takes place just after the events of that one. And I really like the audiobook for this one because it's 6 different voice actors. So it's so much easier to tell the difference between the points of view, because sometimes when I'm reading it, I get so confused sometimes. Like the book really is narrated so well and it's so much more enjoyable for this specific series because I'm not the biggest fan of audiobooks. So I'm gonna go and start this and I will update you guys as I go. So while I have you guys here, I also did a bit of book shopping in the last week and a half and I thought I'd show you guys what I got. So I got Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have not read a book by Emily Henry yet, so hopefully I will enjoy this. According to what I know, this is a romance book, and these two writers who I think are suffering from writer's block, and I'm very curious to see this one. Then another book I was so excited to get my hands on is Out on a Limb. I have been trying to get a copy of this book for so long because I just really want to read this. Again, this is a romance book. From what I know, there's an accidental pregnancy trope in this. I have not read a book like that, so I just really excited. I've only heard good things about this. I bought The Kite Runner. This book needs no words. I can't wait to read this. And then the last book I got was The Poppy War. This series has been on my TBR for so long. This is an adult fantasy trilogy. I'm gonna get back into the reading and I will update you guys if anything else. Hi guys, I'm back. I haven't filmed for a couple of days, but I have finally finished Four Ruined Realms. It took me like 3 days to, finish the book, but I'm done. I was kind of disappointed with the book. I felt like the beginning of the book was fine, right? So in this book, I don't want to hear any spoilers about this book. Then maybe don't listen to this part, but basically in this book, we're following our same 5 characters from book 1. This time they have been tasked to steal this ring of the queen from a different country, and the 5 of them are going to like pull off this heist. They're not entirely sure if they want to do that because they've been instructed to do that by the king of their country. It's just that I felt like in the middle of the book, right? Like when we got to like 30% to like 60%, it got kind of boring. I feel like if I wasn't listening to the audiobook, I would have lost interest so much quicker. Some of the characters' points of view in this book felt very similar. Like it became very difficult to differentiate between the characters. They had some like stereotypical roles that everyone followed in the first book, right? And once you get past like that's how the characters are supposed to be, in this book I just felt like some of the chapters kind of blended together, especially since in a lot of the scenes they were all together in the same place. In the first book they spent a bulk of the book apart, right? So in this book they were together for quite a bit, and I felt like you were getting the same scene in different points of view, so it kind of started to blend a little bit. I also felt like with this one, so the first book also had the same kind of writing style where it's very simplistic and straightforward, and honestly you don't really mind. But in this one I think it's me, but I just felt like it came across a bit more choppy, and because the way the plot was going, I just felt less invested as the first book. It was so much harder to pay attention and to like stay invested in the plot line. And then I also felt like certain characters I thought we were going to get some character development and that kind of thing, but that didn't really happen and everyone kind of stayed the same. Oh, and another thing, I felt like some of the characters became so repetitive in their points of view. Like they kept saying, like every time you switch to their view, they kept saying the same thing over and over, and it's like, okay, we get it, like you've said this before many times, and that just kept on happening. This one, so in the first book, right, I wasn't 100% sure where we were going, because once I realized it was a series, we obviously had to be building up to something. So in this one, I felt like you kind of were a little bit more aware of where the plot was going to go. So in some of the stuff that happened, it became a little bit more predictable, I'd say, than the first book. Another thing was I felt like the found family was being forced. Like it wasn't this natural development of friendship and trust between them. And I just felt like it was kind of forced a little bit. The last 100 pages redeemed this book so much. Binged that entire last 100 pages. It was so entertaining. Like it did what I wish the rest of the book did. It got my attention. I was invested. The stakes finally kind of made sense now, and things were happening that I could not predict, like the first half of the book, and I just enjoyed the way the book ended. I will probably continue because, again, I say, for a fantasy book, I felt like it's really nice to read a fantasy book where the ages match up to the characters, because again, a lot of fantasy books, I feel like, because it's young adult, the characters are like 16 and 17, and it's like not as realistic as this book. I also still enjoyed a lot of the characters' background. Really saved this book. That last like 30% was so gripping, and it was, things were happening really fast, and it ended up a couple of twists that I didn't see coming. So I did end up enjoying the ending. Really did save the book. I'm very curious to see the third book when it comes out. Pretty sure it comes out in July. I kind of have an idea, I think, of this book, where it's going to go, but I could be wrong. I mean, that last 100 pages was actually really good. So I will see how that goes. I'm going to try and find a new book to read now. I have no idea what I'm in the mood for reading. I want to read a really good fantasy book that I can get invested in, but I also don't really have the time for that right now. It was so fun to film this video. Thank you guys so much for coming with me this week as I read a couple of books. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon.